Please make sure you have your Cornell Note template set up and complete your heading. Today's date is October 14th, 2014. The topic is integers, and we're going to talk about adding integers with same signs and adding integers with different signs. The essential question that I want you to keep in mind is, how do you add integers with same signs and different signs? The first section of our notes is about modeling sums of integers with same signs. So here we have the problem 3 plus 4. Well, we're going to model it using counters. Yellow counter equals a positive integer. Red counter equals a negative integer. So using the problem 3 plus 4, we have a positive 3 integer, so that means we're going to have 3 positive yellow counters. And then we have plus 4. Plus 4 means a positive 4 integer. So we're going to have another 4 positive counters. Now in your notes, if you're unable to color yellow, that's okay. Just put circles and put the letter P inside of them. Now that we have all of our counters, how many counters are there in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 total counters. So the positive 3 integer plus the positive 4 integer is a positive 7. Now let's see what happens when we have the same signs, but they're negative. So we have negative 5 plus negative 3. Negative 5 is a negative integer, so we're going to use red, and we're going to have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus a negative 3. So that means we're going to have another 3 red counters. So again, after we put our counters, how many do we have in all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a total of 8 counters. Since all the counters are negative integers, our sum will be a negative answer. So our answer is actually negative 8. Let's look at it using a number line. We're going to use this word problem right here. The temperature was 2 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. The temperature drops by 5 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature now? So what's the initial temperature in our word problem? The first line says the temperature was 2 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. So the integer that represents 2 degrees Fahrenheit below zero is a negative 2. So we're going to mark that on our number line. You want to start at 0, and then we're going to go negative 2 units to the left. Then the problem goes to say a drop in temperature of 5 degrees is like adding a negative 5 degrees to the temperature. So that means now that we're at negative 2 on our number line, we're going to add another negative 5 degrees. When we add that additional negative 5 degrees, we have the problem negative 2 plus negative 5. And where do we land once we add that on to our negative 2? We land at negative 7. So the integer is negative 7. Since we're talking about temperature, the answer to the problem is the temperature is 7 degrees above or below zero. Well, since our integer is a negative 7, that means our temperature is 7 degrees below zero. Here are practice problems 1 through 6. Please complete all practice problems in your notes. For the counters, you can go ahead and draw a circle and put the letter N for negative or the letter P for positive. Get ready to go to our next section of our notes, which will be modeling sums of integers with the different signs. So, adding a positive integer or a yellow counter and a negative integer or a red counter will result in 0. This is called a zero pair. So when you have a positive number and the same number but also negative and you add them together, they will always equal 0. So in this case, we have one positive counter, so that's a positive 1, and one negative counter, so that's a negative 1. So when you add 1 plus negative 1, it equals 0. Positive 1 plus a negative 1 is a zero pair, because when you add them together, it equals 0. So let's look at the problem we have here. We're going to model and solve 3 plus negative 2. So we're going to start with the first term of our equation, which is positive 3. So we will start with 3 positive counters to represent the positive 3 integer. And then we're going to add negative 2. So that means we're going to add 2 negative counters. All right. So now that we have our counters, we need to form zero pairs. Again, when you have one positive and one negative, you put them together, it equals a 0. So let's go ahead and form zero pairs. I'm going to put this positive plus this negative together. That's one zero pair. And then I'm going to put this positive plus this negative together. That's another zero pair. Once I have combined my zero pairs, what do I have left over? Well, I have one positive left over. So, positive 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. Again, once you have a zero pair, they are now 0. So you can almost cancel them out. And then what you have left over, it will be your answer. Let's look at another model. Part B, follow the steps to model and find the sum using counters. So here you're going to be filling in the blanks. So we're going to use the problem negative 6 plus 3. First, we're going to start with how many counters. Our first term of our equation is negative 6. So we'll start with 6 negative counters. And the 6 negative counters will represent negative 6. Then we will add 3 positive counters. And this will represent positive 3 integer. Now we're going to find zero pairs. Here's one zero pair. Here's another zero pair. And we have 3 total zero pairs. Now that we have found the zero pairs, we can cancel out those. And what do we have left over once we have removed our zero pairs? We have 1, 2, 3 negative. So that integer is negative 3. So the sum of negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. Now we're going to look at how to model the sum on a number line. So here we have 4 plus negative 3. Again, on our number line, we'll start at 0, and we will move 4 units to the right since it's a positive integer. Then, once we land on our positive 4, we will move 3 units to the left, or in the negative direction. And where do we land? On positive 1. So 4 plus negative 3 equals positive 1. Let's do one more example. Negative 7 plus 5. So again, we start at 0 on our number line, and we will move 7 units to the left, which is the negative direction. Then move 5 units to the right, or in the right direction. And what number do we land on? Negative 2. So negative 7 plus 5 equals negative 2. Here are your practice problems for adding different signed integers. Please work problems 1 through 6 out. Again, for the counters, draw a circle, put an N for negative and a P for positive. That will be the end of our notes today. Please make sure if you need to re-listen to it, you go back, rewind, pause, and make sure you get all the information that has been provided to you in the video.